today, should we go on Facebook as well? I don't know whether we should do Facebook. YouTube. Should we stream on YouTube? What's up, AC? How you doing? Should we stream on YouTube? I don't know. Let's stream on Facebook. We are live. We've got 7 people in the live. Keep tapping the screen. It boosts us in the algorithm. Let's turn off text to speech for now. Keep tapping the screen to like the live, guys. What's up, Guy72? Thanks for joining the live. What's up, Nuria? Thanks for liking the live, Steph. Come on, guys, boost us. I know it takes some time for the algorithm sometimes. On the live that we got on Facebook, we've just got one comment that says delusional. That shit's sad as hell. Okay, now we've got some more comments. Thank you. Thoughts on Freemasons? So I used to be into like, well, I'm into like the conspiracies, and I guess you can call them conspiracies. I know Freemasons are real, but I recently came to the conclusion that it doesn't matter if someone's part of a secret society. Like, if you were part of a secret society and someone was like, you know, sacrifice someone innocent, like a child or something, like, does it matter if you do that, if you're part of a secret society or not? Like, there's no difference between someone that targets kids because they're a nonce and someone that targets kids because they're part of a secret society. So, like, I don't care if someone's part of a secret society. It kind of just makes them a bit more moist because it's like, oh, like, you couldn't even form a team of criminals yourself. Like, you had to join, like, some old, like, you couldn't form a gang of criminals. You're just like a cringe criminal. You know, you old Freemason. Like, you had to, you know what I mean? So now I'm not fazed by that. I think, oh, Freemason, a big and scary Freemason. Like, at the end of the day, does it matter if someone's in a gang or if they're, you know, working on their own, or if they're a criminal, if they're part of the council, part of the NHS? Like, end of the day, criminals will be criminals. Human beings will be human beings. We've got 50 people in the live. Thanks for boosting me, guys. Tap the screen to like live. I want likes now, guys, because to boost us in the algorithm, to grow the platform, we need likes. Someone said, are you British? Yeah, I am British. Look at management. They're taking in the money while frontline workers get nothing. Yeah, pretty much. That's accurate. Lizzie says, I'm right. Hell OG says, I work in NHS. Am I a criminal? You might be. Makes sense, though. You want to get a power. Make a group to boost each other. Yeah, okay. Private healthcare is expensive. Not really. It's like, I mean, the most expensive private healthcare is like the same cost as what taxpayers who pay for the NHS pay. Sorry. I don't think people realize that the tax contribution in the UK, the amount that people spend that pay for the NHS, like, that's like how much you would pay for private healthcare. So, like, I don't know what. Are you for private healthcare? Well, it's not about being for or against it. It's just like, it obviously is a thing that is not inherently bad. Like, there are things, it can be good, it can be bad. Like, but people think it's inherently bad, but it doesn't make sense for it to be inherently bad. It depends on how the system is structured and stuff. But I think the NHS would benefit from being largely privatized. Do you guys think it's interesting how every single time we do this topic, people all come to defend the NHS, but nobody defends the police, the banks, the family courts, or the council? So what does that tell us about the NHS? It's like people think that they're the only people that can do no wrong. Do you... Wait, let me see what that comment says. Do you offer help with this stuff? My child's been a victim of... So you say no one's helping me. I do help people with this kind of stuff, yeah. You have to fill in the form on my link in bio. There's if you click on the link in my bio, the top link says click here to tell us your story or something to that effect. Someone said the real Mafia, and then they put what's that thing called? I know what that thing is, but I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, Harriet, no problem. Someone said, should be common sense that NHS aren't any good. I think what it might be is that a lot of people on this, the Menorah, a lot of people on this, they're like little kids. So obviously when you see someone's like name on this, you can't tell if they're like a little kid or not. So like, some people are little kids, so it's like they've never even used the service. They don't even know how it works. They don't know how corruption operates. Like, they're little kids. So they're like, oh, you're bad. My mom's an NHS nurse. They don't even know what's going on. Someone said, I would defend most public services we have. Oh, so you're basically like a government slave. Perfect. Lucy Letby is guilty. She's not. Well, she was found guilty, but she's not actually guilty. Imagine being like, having such a simplistic way of seeing the world that you think, NHS, good. Government, good. They job says they help people. That means they good. No corruption. Government slave. Hopefully, bro doesn't have a job, because that literally makes you the same. I don't have a job. What do you propose instead of government services then? Oh, well, I've never said there shouldn't be government services. I just think it's funny when people worship government services and think that because somebody works for the government that they're inherently good. Don't you think that's pretty silly? So you're a benefit swipe. Well, I have a business, but I do get PIP. So, yes, I guess I'm a benefit swipe. What about London grapes as a secret? I don't know what that is. Liking being safe equals worship. But this is what I'm saying. You have like such a simplistic way of seeing the world. It's okay though. Like, if you want to come and debate on the live, please come and debate. Feel free to request. It's okay though. I ain't gonna go back and forth with your team. We're gonna get some intelligent thinkers on today. Oh, we got a request. Let's see. Bad boys, can you hear me? Hello? Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just turning you up on the speaker. Speak again. Yeah, I can hear you.
Wait, so what is it you're arguing exactly?
What is my argument?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, my argument is that these organizations, they all operate in tandem and they operate like a mafia. They protect one another. They protect the structure. They victimize people who call them out. They're not really accountable to anybody. And that's this structure and our inability to criticize it and hold it accountable is the real reason for the issues in the UK. A lot of people blame like the overall government, like the MPs and stuff, but they're not really the genesis of these issues. The issues are actually in these public services and civil services.
Just so you're just saying like generally most of the issues to do with the UK are just to do with services like the NHS and the people.
Yeah, and people's attitude towards them. You're really quiet for some reason. I'm not really sure.
Oh, sorry. Hold up. Let me see if I can do that. Sorry. Is this any better or no?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, cool. I don't know. I think your argument's kind of like, what's the evidence for it? Like when it comes to how does it just seems too much of a big statement. Kind of like I would agree there's corruption and stuff, but to say they're all working together, I don't see the evidence for it.
You don't think that they're working together?
I don't think like the NHS are working with the police. I don't think there's.
You don't think the NHS work with the police?
Well, no, obviously they do, but
okay.
I don't think there's like management in charge of the NHS, in charge of the police who are like, what would they even cause corruption? Like, what are they doing that's corrupting? You saying?
What? So you're saying what do the NHS do that is corrupt?
Yeah. basically.
So how old are you?
Some fuck things. I'm 18.
Okay, so you remember like during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Do you think all of those people died because of COVID?
I don't know enough about it.
Okay. But if, let's say, for example, if they didn't pass away because of that, wouldn't that mean that there's been mass fraud?
Yeah. I agree
Okay,
with that.
so if there's been mass fraud, why hasn't anyone been arrested?
Because so hold up. So if you're saying, I've heard people argue this, but I've never seen much about it. That there were people who the NHS said died of COVID, but they didn't actually die of COVID.
Yeah, why haven't they been arrested?
Well, yeah, that would be our legal system. I would agree that our legal system is definitely.
What does it have to do with the legal system?
Yeah, fair play. I see what you're saying, because it's got to do with the legal system, because like if an average person does something like cheat the matrix and try and get money, they'll get arrested. But then if the NHS like has done something corrupt, there's no one's arresting them and enforcing them. Right? I get what you're
So what? But what? Do you not see that that's actually a problem with the police? That the police protocols make them not arrest NHS staff?
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do actually see what you're saying. But I'd agree. Yeah, COVID was corrupt, but I'd say in general that NHS is a good thing. Right?
I don't think so.
Why do you say? I mean, I think COVID. I don't think COVID was necessarily a big corruption. I just think people were stupid and overreacting.
They're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. It's the public
What's
that's
the
stupid.
aim? Like, why would they want to? I just feel like what do they gain? I guess will.
They sell pharmaceuticals. They keep the status quo, which keeps them employed, keeps them able to make money, siphon money. They're unaccountable. They remain unaccountable. They're able to put in legislation that favors them long term. Like a lot of the legislation that was put in during COVID, it still exists today, and it protects these systems long term, so that when they do things wrong, they're able to get away with it. For example, when my daughter was killed by the NHS, it wasn't actually like what they did to get away with her death. That was implemented during COVID, where if you could just say that someone died of COVID, they don't do a proper investigation into it. They've implemented that during COVID because so many people were passing away, and they wanted to mark all of them as COVID deaths. So they said, that they don't need to do a proper coronial procedure for those deaths.
Yeah, man, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize your daughter died. That's really fucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's not just about my daughter. It's about the fact that you're 18, which means you're an adult. You live in the UK, and you don't even know how corrupt these systems are, and they are genuinely the cause for most issues in the country. But the media deflects onto like petty crime and theft, but really these people are the real criminals.
Like, so what other, are you just saying that like they caused so like in COVID they were corrupt and pretended people died, so
It's not just COVID. COVID was just the most obvious one where everybody saw it, and some people still saw what right in front of their eyes, and they still don't get it. But it wasn't just that. They've been getting away with this for years, probably centuries. It's a system and a structure that's set up, and people think that it's about protecting us and keeping us safe, but it's not. It's about maintaining leverage over the everyday man.
Just for profit, is that what you reckon?
I mean, they do more than just profit off us. People's organs get used. They separate families. They put people through court proceedings to keep the court system going. They silence people.
Motivation, because we're all
Money and power. Same motivation that all other mafias and criminals have is money and power, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that the way that human beings are is substantially different? Like, as in, you think that people who are on a council estate or people who live a middle class, normal lifestyle, do you think that they are different inherently, other than how they're perceived, how they're dressed in their class? Do you think that some are good and some are bad? Like, anywhere you go, there's going to be good people and bad people. But the difference is where do you live? You probably live in like London or something, right?
No, I live like near Oxford.
Okay. There's a bad area near you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what would happen if for a whole year the local police said we're not policing in this area anymore? What would happen? There'd be a lot more crime, violence, and people would do heinous things and get away with it, right? Yeah. Every type of crime would go up, and people would get away with it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Do much anyway.
Okay. Now, if you think about it, the people who would do that are not really more good or bad than other people who have jobs or anything like that. It's just the fact that you told them that now they can get away with anything. That's what's happening with these people. So because there's no accountability, they do things that you can't even not trying to patronize you, but you couldn't even comprehend the kind of things that they do because you won't even know about it. They'll just get away with it. So what's happened is over years, over decades, over centuries, they've perfected the art of doing stuff, getting away with it, and making it seem like people who like me who talk about it are crazy or bad or conspiracy theorists. They've perfected the art. If you see the way that these people operate, like they're not unintelligent. They're extremely intelligent. They've perfected this art of making people like me look like the bad guy and making people think that they're good. That's why when I do these lives, people comment and they try to defend this system, but they don't know why they're trying to defend it.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you on COVID, but like we're talking quite vaguely. Like we're not talking about specific things. Like we're kind of just talking about corruption in a vague sense. So like, is there something like more specific to talk about? Because I agree, sure, corruption definitely exists sometimes, but I don't know if it's as bad as you're saying on, you know?
So, for example, I personally believe that most of the people who or a lot of people who pass away in hospitals, their deaths are covered up. And it's become so normalized for their deaths to be covered up that, you know, a lot of the times they'll blame sepsis or they'll blame a virus, but a lot of these people are being killed by the hospitals and then it gets covered up. And that's a systemic thing, and it happens, I mean, it doesn't just happen in the UK, this happens worldwide. Most diagnoses, realistically, are not even accurate. People get diagnosed with things in a prescriptive manner to make them be able to treat them with certain substances, certain drugs, like statins are like the number one selling drug, I think. And the whole premise of statins, for example, the whole premise of statins is to lower people's cholesterol levels, because they believe that cholesterol causes atherosclerosis and heart disease, but it doesn't. So they're selling these substances to people on a false premise, and it's the number one selling drug in the world, but it doesn't do the thing that it doesn't prevent the thing that they say it prevents. It's just a scam. It's just a racket.
What's the drug for? Wait, what is it?
It's supposed to lower your cholesterol levels.
That's to do with like, I don't even know exactly what it is, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you're really quiet, by the way. So it's really hard, but I don't know.
I don't know exactly what that is, to be honest. But fair enough. But fair enough. I don't really know enough about any of these things, to be honest.
Okay, well, nice speaking to you anyway.
Nice speaking to you. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, someone was talking about my live numbers. I mean, TikTok is kind of funny with live numbers. Like I don't know if it's the topics that you talk about or if it's the background. I know the USA Live goes crazy, and I think it's because it registers the background and it knows, oh, this background is like a popular background, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to go into different topics. Someone said, any pharmaceuticals there to keep you coming back all have long-term side effects. Yeah. If everyone is healthy forever, they don't make any money. Pretty much. I find it actually like kind of scary that like most 18, 19-year-olds that I speak to, they don't even know this. And I don't understand what content are they consuming. Anyway, what's up?
I'm just wanting to say, there's echo.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. What's up?
Better now. I wanted to say, like, it's not like government on like surface level, like police, NHS, and the social services. I think it is more like more like Rothschild and BlackRock Vanguard, you know.
Okay.
Like specifically like the Jewish.
Right, sorry, got broke you down. I know I become what I hate when I send to people who tell the truth, but yeah, if you say that on live, I don't want my live to get banned. So, hey, I couldn't find the link in the link tree, but what? I don't know what's up with my link tree because everyone keeps telling me it's not working. Hold on though. Link. So it's the first link. on the link tree. Hold on. Link. Yeah, click here to send it. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Yeah, the link isn't there. My bad. Where is the whistleblower booth? Damn, I don't know why the link's gone. I'm so sorry. Right, that's my fault. Let me sort it out. I'll sort it out for you in a bit. If you email me, I'll give you a call. Yeah, I know you weren't finished, but you're putting on a fake voice and you're going to talk about the J stars, and I don't want to get banned. So, well, it sounded like a fake voice. Maybe I'm being prejudiced. We got 14 people in the night. That's pretty low numbers. We might have to switch topics, guys. We might have to switch topics. Can you show me the evidence that statins do not work? Well, the reason why I know that statins don't work is because heart disease is not caused by high cholesterol. So if something's trying to lower your cholesterol levels on the premise that high cholesterol levels cause heart disease, and that's not true, then obviously it doesn't work, does it? I mean, they've already done studies that have exposed that high cholesterol does not cause heart disease. In fact, there's no evidence that suggests that high cholesterol causes heart disease. So, but you know, I'm a medical skeptic. So a lot of the things I say, people who have gone through a mainstream education, they are gonna believe what you get told by the medical establishment. But can you direct me to the studies then? Yeah, didn't they do? There was a I can try and find you it. I got one here, but I don't really want to get into it on here because it will get called medical misinformation. But I can send you the links. If you send me a message and just say, "Oh, can you send me the studies?" I'll send you the link. Cloudwater Tree says there's significant evidence that proves cholesterol leads to heart disease. How can cholesterol cause heart disease when your body is made up of a large amount of cholesterol? That doesn't make any sense. But you will believe that because that's what you get told by the medical establishment because they want to sell statins. It doesn't cause atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is caused by sugars, seed oils, etc. Damage to your arteries, and the damage to your arteries is caused by the diet of human beings, and then the cholesterol builds up because you have damaged cells in those regions. It's not caused by the cholesterol. It doesn't form blood clots. The blood goes to those regions when you have damage to your arteries. Your arteries can be damaged by a lot of things: smoking, sugar, plant products, seed oils. Those are the things that damage your arteries. Cholesterol cannot damage you because you're made of cholesterol. So anyway, just one of many examples of mainstream ideas that people get taught. What if it's high? Yeah, but your cholesterol consumption is not what leads to high cholesterol. For example, I eat a very high cholesterol diet, but I don't have atherosclerosis and I don't have any issues with my heart or nothing like that. And I know I'm just you could say it's just an anecdote, but the point is your dietary cholesterol is not what causes high cholesterol. High cholesterol is caused by you having damaged arteries because of the things you eat, not because you're eating cholesterol. Your body produces the cholesterol and it accumulates in the regions where there's damage because your cells are made of cholesterol, made of fats. So that's what is going to accumulate when you have damaged tissue. And that's why if you actually examine these plaques, the plaques are often composed of like seed oils and things like that. Or the byproducts of the consumption of seed oils, I should say. Barbara O'Neill has a great lecture on this. Oh, I should look her up. The weird thing about this shit is a lot of people know like doctors and people who research this stuff, and I don't watch these people. Like I just know this stuff because I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like, how can cholesterol, what you're made of, be bad for you? It doesn't even make sense. Oh, okay. So Barbara O'Neill is basically saying the same thing as me. I didn't know who this was. She says she emphasizes that cholesterol plays a vital role in rebuilding and repairing the body, and that LDL cholesterol, often considered bad, is actually tasked with repairing damaged areas in blood vessels. Exactly. She also highlights that the liver produces cholesterol primarily from glucose, and that a healthy diet can support optimal cholesterol levels. Yeah, pretty much. But even if you just look at it from a basic level, why would something that your body naturally produces give you heart disease? No, Russian mafia, Mexican mafia, Italy doesn't own the right. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Laos? We got 17 people in the live. Guys, boost us. We want to have a proper discussion. Someone said Keir Starmer's house was set alight by someone during the early hours. Oh, what happened to Keir Starmer's house? Like, why did someone... It's all that GB News propaganda. People think Keir Starmer is the cause of all the issues. Thanks for the heart, me. The real mafia is the international clique, the internationale clique, who control the NGOs. Andy Tate not got enough views, so he went back to NHS. Bless ya. Ha ha ha. I'd like to see what you go live about. Why is the NHS criminal? Why is the health service mafia? Well, if you guys should read. Has anybody read Kaczynski's essays? Should we get a little summary of Kaczynski opinion on... I want to get this from the horse's mouth. On the medical history from what was that? What's his thing called again? His essay. The Industrial Revolution and its consequences. Is that what the essay's called? I know that's how it starts. Why is Birmingham City Council next to Pfizer? Oh, that just represents the councils, bro. You're an NHS nurse. I'm yet to see what's criminal. I mean, a lot I don't agree, but not crimes. Yeah, you don't think that they're crimes because you have cognitive dissonance. You only think something's a crime when everyday people do it because you're brainwashed. So you're brainwashed to believe that if the state does something or if representatives of the state do something, that's okay. But if a normal person does it, that it's not okay. So tell me what you don't agree with in the NHS, and I'll tell you how it's crime. Tell me what you said, because you said there's a lot you don't agree with. What is it that you don't agree with? Because I know now you're going to start backtracking because you don't want to be exposed. How it's staffed, how the money is spent. Do you think that there's fraud involved there with how the money's spent? Yeah, do you think that there's fraud involved? Do you think that the money is spent deliberately on contracts that allow people who have a vested interest to capitalise off of the public purse through the NHS? Do you think that there's a racket there? How they systemically siphon money off of the NHS? Is that fraud? Is fraud a crime? Oh, it's all gone quiet. Trying to think of something to say. Oh, have you never seen a death covered up in the NHS? You never seen death covered? You wasn't working during COVID, no? Okay, I found what I was looking for. This is my opinion, which is why I found it so interesting when I read that Kaczynski said this. So this is what he says. So he says, he argues in industrial society in its future that as a technological system becomes more complex and powerful, it will inevitably begin to protect itself from disruption, including the people it supposedly serves. He suggests that in this self-preservation will manifest through subtle forms of control, and the medical and psychological systems are central tools in this process. Here's a focused summary of what he says regarding this pathologizing dissent. Kaczynski warns that those who resist or fail to adapt to the system's demands may be classified as mentally ill. In other words, opposition to the system could be reframed as a medical or psychological problem rather than a legitimate political or moral stance. Medical tyranny. He predicts that control will not come through obvious dictatorship, but through benevolent seeming institutions. So this is what we're starting to see, and this is what I've definitely had first-hand experience with, which is that when they want to, the way that the system is set up is such that the most efficient way of exerting a tyrannical system on the population will not be through the main government, it will be through the medical system, because the legal system has already given them so much protection and so many outs, there's so much lack of accountability that will be the best way to enforce tyranny. They can inject, mass inject people with things, they can cover up deaths. There's so many things that the medical system can do that the police wouldn't be able to get away with, or a normal government or a militia, wouldn't be able to get away with. So if there's going to be tyranny, it will come through the medical system. We're already seeing it. What's that bill that they got, the assisted dying bill? So they already have ways of getting away with killing people. Now they've got the assisted dying bill. They've got ways of mass vaccinating people. They've got court precedent that says that vaccination is in the best interest of somebody. So if somebody doesn't have the ability to make decisions for themselves, they can be forcibly vaccinated in the UK. Make no mistake about it. Through deprivation of liberty, or if they're a child, they can be forcibly. It's legal to forcibly vaccinate somebody in the UK. All you have to do is frame them as having a psychological issue, do deprivation of liberty on them, and then you can forcibly vaccinate them. Same with a child. If the state thinks that it's in the best interest of a child, they can forcibly vaccinate them, as per UK law, as of I think 2022 in the UK. So we're already seeing the medical tyranny. Then he says social control by therapy. He argues that therapy and mental health services will increasingly be used not to heal but to adjust individuals to the needs of the system. Those who are unhappy or non-compliant are seen as malfunctioning and in need of correction. So we're already seeing this. And this is not dissimilar from, if anyone's read Brave New World, you know how they have the Soma in Brave New World, where the people are given the drugs in order for them to be content with the system as it is. That's what we're starting to see. I think something like 33% of women between like 18 and 35 are on antidepressants. So we're already seeing this kind of thing. And interestingly, if you look at the history of therapy, it is this is what therapy is actually grounded upon, is hypnosis and mesmerism, on transferring a state or a state of mind onto a person such that they believe that they are what you prescribe it as. Oh, this person said it's really not. Well, why don't you come on and debate me then? Because you seem to, you want to act like you know all this stuff. You don't know more than me. So come and debate, and then let's see what you know. Seems you know. Ooh. Oh, we're talking to the other guy. Now I feel stupid. I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Why are you getting so aggy? Because, man, I like this. I like the smoke. I'm a sensitive soul. You've got a choice, yes or no, to vaccination. Well, yeah, I just explained. If they pathologize you, if they make you make it seem like you have a mental illness, so you could be a mental illness, or you could be in prison, or you could be a child. They can forcibly vaccinate you. You don't care. You do care about your patients, though. Really. You would say that, wouldn't you? That you care about your patients. Everybody says that. Like me personally, I feel like no moral, righteous person would work for the NHS, in my personal opinion. And like most of my family work for the NHS, like, or have worked for the NHS. Let me caveat that with no moral righteous person who isn't brainwashed would work for the NHS. Because I don't believe you that you have not seen any negligence or cover-ups. And you know that you should have whistleblown on it, but you didn't. Yeah, see, you don't want to... You've seen negligence. Did you whistleblow? And what happened when you whistleblow? What did you whistleblow on? Shy Andrew says, one argument I've never heard is this one, mate. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like people are just asleep, like, these days. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to act like I'm a know-it-all, but, like, I don't understand how people can't see that the current system that we're living under is extremely corrupt to the point where it literally functions like a mafia. But then again, if you'd never really, like, experienced it, I guess how would you know? You said, I'm attacking the entire system and act like behind closed doors we're like suffocating. Oh, you mean like suffocating, holding pillows on Foxhead? You don't have to kill someone that way, obviously, you know that. It's systemic. You can use systemic forms of harming people. You don't have to brazenly somebody. You know what I'm talking about. That's why I don't trust you people, because you know exactly what I'm talking about, but you don't want me to talk about it, even though you've just admitted that there's corruption and you've whistleblown. So you've whistleblown on corruption, but then when I'm speaking about the corruption, now you're trying to act like I shouldn't talk about it. You've never seen death being hidden, but I consult every day with people that have seen deaths being hidden. But you don't want me to talk about it because it makes you feel uncomfortable. So we shouldn't talk about all the deaths that are being covered up because you haven't seen it. And this is the mindset of these people. This is why, like, you can't trust them. You are predisposed to defend these people because you work for them. You are them. You just don't realize that you are them. When you get told what to do by a doctor, you follow orders. When you get told what to do by the senior government, you follow orders. It's the truth. You just can't handle the truth. You don't like being called out. And a lot of nurses have the kind of attitude that you have where they don't like being told the truth. What do you think of CQC inspectors? Well, I know I met personally a whistleblower who said that, and she was a head of a ward, and she said that the CQC secretly tells the staff members, the senior staff, when they're coming for an inspection so that they can do everything to ensure that they're in line. So that means you can't even trust the CQC. The CQC has been declared not fit for purpose. They recently did an internal investigation, declared themselves not fit for purpose. So they're declaring themselves not fit for purpose. Then they were declared not fit for purpose by the government. So KL wants to make it all about her because she's a solipsistic narcissist, as most nurses are. It's not about you, mate. So we're talking about negligence, corruption. You want to make it about you. We don't care about you, mate. We don't care. So you came to defend. You tried to act like I didn't know what I was talking about. Then you said, oh, what crime, ha ha ha. Then I showed you, oh, actually, what you just described is fraud. And then you started backtracking. Oh, actually, you did explain it. Now you don't even know what to talk about. You're just trying to waste time and derail. You want to derail. Just go to work, be a nurse, get the jabs, do your job. Like, don't talk to me. I'm not a government slave. Go do your job. Go put on your uniform and do what the doctors tell you to do. Like, you and me are not even the same type of person. One person has a job helping you sit on TikTok. Yeah, I know. I sit on TikTok. But how would you know what I do anyway? You're on TikTok too, silly Billy. You're on TikTok too. TikTok is a means of reaching people in the public. In fact, speaking on TikTok is more than you do. What do you do? Nothing. You're an NPC. You're an NPC. It's okay. Have there been any NHS doctors that you liked? Sure. I'll just say yeah. NPC's got the jab. That's the funniest part of all, is that these people try and talk to you as if like I'm this and how dare you do this? And the government literally told them, go and do this, and they went and did it. Go and get the jab, or we're not going to let you travel. They went and did it, and then you want to talk to me like we're in the same category of person. Like, you do what you're told. Like, you can't talk to a free-thinking person and argue about corruption, freedom of thought, like solutions. You are a lemming. Like, you do what you're told. Like, we see the caliber of a person by how they respond in times of crisis. When you thought things was on top, you was there. Do you know what I mean? You was part of them. You're one of them. You're not one of us. You're one of them. So, like, you can't really size with me. And I'm not even trying to be horrible. I'm just saying, like, it's like, imagine you have like 100 people in a room, and then like an army of invaders come in, and half of them run around. They run out the room. Yeah. And then half of them stay and fight. And then when all said and done, the smoke clears, everyone comes back in the room. And the people that ran away want to talk to the people that stood and fight, being like, oh, you know, I should be this and you should be that. And you should, bro, you ran away. Like, you can't talk to, like, what the hell? So this is what I'm saying, like, it's the same analogy for, like, when we're talking about this topic, how are you going to talk about corruption, the mafia, conformity, when the government came and told you what to do and said, you literally conformed and got scared and did what they told you to do. So how are you going to talk to someone like me? And I'm not trying to big myself up. I'm just saying, like, there's a big difference between how we respond in times of crisis. Like, the measure of a man is how, or a woman, is how they respond in times of crisis. Shai Andrews says she never had a jab. Well, you never had a jab, but then you're on here defending the system because I'm calling out corruption. So, again, we're not the same kind of person. I call out corruption, you defend it. And people act like TikTok is just this, oh, TikTok, bro, this is the public forum. Like, employers can see me, members of the public. I could walk outside and someone could see me from something I said on TikTok and want to do something to me. So you can't act like, oh, you're just talking on TikTok. This is a public forum where I'm expressing myself. It takes courage to express yourself on a public forum about topics like this. You can lose your livelihood, your family can be harmed. I've already had my daughter's life taken by the NHS, and they're targeting me, trying to put me in prison, and you're talking about, oh, you're on TikTok talking. It takes bravery to do what I do, and you're there going, you talk about healthcare workers. We're not the same. Like, we're not the same. And I'm not even trying to turn up because I'm actually like chill today. I'm having a good day. But I'm saying, like, how can you realistically compare to someone who's going through what I'm going through when you don't even know what's going on, one, and two, even if you did know what's going on, you'd be scared to do anything. I was talking about this before they took my daughter's life. Publicly, I lost friends, family. Publicly, I've been talking about this stuff. I mean, and if you know, you know. Like, there's people that know what's going on. They know, like, the things that we go through, like the bereaved parents, the NHS harm people, the people who've had their children stolen by social services, and the people that deal with these corrupt people. We know what's going on. We are the resistance. We are the movement of individuals that are actually trying to speak for change. Shout out to all the people that want to do the whole common law thing. That's not my little thing that I'm trying to do, like the whole common law thing. But at least they're trying. Like, do you know what I'm saying? The peace officer people. Shout out to the peace officer people. Shout out to the whistleblowers. Shout out to the people, they're forming their own little cliques and charities. We the ones fighting. You don't even know what's going on. The invisible person that I'm talking to. You don't know what's going on. So, like, why are you trying to SHIT on the people that are doing the actual work to try and change society for the better? The people that put their bodies on the line, put themselves on the line. We're the ones going to the meetings, taking time off our day, I could be working a job just like you. I could just go back into medical sales and nothing happened. Probably earn a better salary than you. Realistically. I've been had money from when I was young. I had bare money. I don't care about money. Like, this ain't no money thing to me. Like, if you want to go size on money, if you want to size on educational, whatever you guys want to size on, we can size. But it's not about that. It's about, do you know what I'm saying? The compulsion to actually make positive change in society. And like, I know that we help people. Like, the things that we do, it helps people. And we are making change because there's a group, there's a movement, multiple movements of us that are trying to make change. And then you got these lemmings that come on, oh, you're talking about the healthcare workers. Shut up, man.
Hey.
Hey.
You up. You know, I've been following you guys for so long, and I just thought I'd just come in this time because my little one's get away now. And yeah, you're doing such an amazing job. I'm so sorry for what has happened. Everything that you basically think is what it is from guys like yourself. And they are the mafias, you know. It's not the NHS that we grew up with. It's been taken over.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the organization because back in I think it was 2010. Remember back in the days when Sky used to have like free channels with like showing truth stuff and things like that. I don't know if you came across it.
No.
But they basically were warning us, the people, about NHS being taken over by a small organization. It's small.
Is it common purpose or something?
Common purpose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're in our schools. And to be fair, at the time when I had come across that information, I was like, how are they going to do that? There's no way. And today, it is so clear. Yeah,
they're a communist mafia. A lot of people don't realize that that's the threat. That's the real threat in the UK is actual communism. If you actually read Common Purpose and the documentation they put out, it's a lot of the ideas behind like their theories. It's about hypnosis and things like that. And they use communist tactics to essentially brainwash people. There's a document called Towards a Million Change Agents, and it's about how they plan to use social movements to basically foster support for the NHS. And the social movement that they use is the communist rhetoric, extreme left-wing rhetoric. I mean, you can look at all the movements that have gripped the UK in the past 20, 30 years. It's all communism, the New Left movement, New Labour. And that's what fundamentally changed the UK into what we see today.
Yeah. And it's so sad because even when you think about the Brexit, I feel it for the British people because they were blinded basically and fooled into making decisions that the government knew, okay, that's going to set them up. And so, do you know what I mean? And it's just sad for them to see them now actually feeling it, especially in 2025 with everything going up and even like the NHS, the quality of how everything used to be back in those days. But at the end of the day, it's like how can I say it? Like the end of the song, and we're basically at that part now.
I think it's a manufactured destruction. Like what do they call it? Like a controlled demolition, basically. Yeah. So they're making sure that as they bring everything down, they're still benefiting and siphoning things off. But it is a mafia, like as is the current iteration of it. And I agree with you. I feel bad for the UK people because obviously, like I have immigrant heritage, but I was born and raised in the UK, and I feel bad for them because. And I notice now how they're being tricked into like scapegoating the Muslims, and it's like, dude, like these people are not the cause of the problem, but they don't know who to point the finger at, so it's like a state of desperation, and then now they get manipulated by the algorithms online to think that you know what I mean. It's just sad,
and all part of that as well. It's crazy.
Yeah,
they don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand that the so-called right wing in the UK, which is not really a right wing, because those conservatives are communists too. So the right wing and the left wing, they're just playing them like a fiddle. Like, oh, blame the Muslims, and then you got the radical leftists. They come in and they wanna. It's just all a theatre.
I know. And for me, it's sad because those people actually believe that, oh yeah, it's the Muslims. They don't realize their children, their stuff fall out all the way. Do you know what I mean? They're on it. You know, they've merged. So as much as the parents, they want to be like, oh, they want to be divisive, it's too late. Because your children and your children's children, they are one. They don't even see color right now. And this is what people need to comprehend. Because right now we should be more united than anything. You've come on this platform, on your platform, explain what's happened. We should be backing him up. There's no reason why we should be fighting. Because he's not the problem. He's not the cause. He's basically the aftermath. So
yeah,
if you don't want what's happened to him to happen to your family, take heed and join together.
But the crazy thing is, you would think that they would listen to me of all people, because not only have I been through it, I can show you step by step from the start to the finish. But do you know what? I understand it, because, you know, let me tell you something. What's your name, sorry?
Empress Kango.
Kango. Like, let me tell you something, yeah. You know, like, since all we've been through, not one person in my family has sat down with me and say, tell me what happened from start to finish. Because they're scared. Like, even my family, they know that I know the truth, but they're scared. They don't want to know what really is actually going on. So they're trying to, like, tell themselves, no, he's lying, he's the problem, block it out. Because I've looked the devil in the face, you understand? I know what's going on. It's not what I think's going on. I'm telling you, I can name all the people. This guy's part of this mafia, this guy, he's done this, he's covered up this many deaths. I even can tell you the names of people who have been through the same thing as me, and I say, who did it? This guy, he did it again. I said, oh, that's the same guy as me. So I know what's going on, yeah? But the problem is that, like, it's too scary, because who the hell wants to imagine, oh my God, what if my child was unalived and then they tried to take my kid with social... If I had to dream up a scenario, the worst possible scenario I could possibly think of, I wouldn't even be able to come up with what has happened to us.
I know, and this is this is to show you how their brain, like, they're actually in our minds right now.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand that we don't even look for the cause of anything now. We just look for the problem and probably, like, the solution to keep us, you know, leveled up, to keep us sane, should I say. But we're not looking for the cause. We're not looking for, okay, how did it happen? How did it start? Where did it... We're not asking no more questions. And this is what is so scary for me, because it's like, all right, ask the question. You want to know what needs to be, what you need to know. Ask all the questions. Don't be afraid. And we've become so afraid.
Yeah.
So afraid of the truth.
Yeah,
so we
people
rather
are
follow
afraid.
Someone who's telling a lie. We can see that they're telling us a lie, but because they're trending, because they've got all these likes, because they've all popping. Do you know what I mean? And it's sad, man. It's like, bro. And a lot of these people are Christian as well, because the Bible's been telling us about all these things. So why are we shocked? Why are we always every day we turn on and say, I come, but the Bible's been telling you what's going to happen. So you should be more ready and aware and ready to come together and fight that. And it's not even a fight. We just need to stop engaging with these people, with this organization.
It's not even, you know, in terms of the actual solution, the solution is not actually difficult. I think I know the solution. Like, audit these organizations, privatize some of this, disband some of these, set up a new IPC. Like, some of these solutions are not even that hard to, like, repeal the Children's Act, repeal some of the speech. Like, we can solve a lot of these problems, but they don't want to, because they're the ones making billions off trafficking kids. They're making billions off, you know, selling organs. They're making billions off abortion. They're making billions off of people passing away, and then they claim money from the public purse every time they're treating a COVID patient. They're making billions. Farmers making billions. You know, it's a racket. So, but the solution's not hard. It's just that most people wouldn't. And I honestly think, you know, like, people come in here and they say, oh, you're jobless. I do have a business, but people say, oh, you're jobless. I think that because most people have a job, I know that feeling. You're getting on a train, you're in the groove, you wake up 6:30. You're not conscious. You're actually in a robotic state of hypnosis.
Right.
You don't know what's going on, because, first of all, when you work, when you wake up early, when you're away from the sun, it's actually a form of trauma. You're traumatized, your cortisol levels are high, and you're in fight or flight mode. But you're channeling your energy towards your job. So as you're in fight or flight mode, you're in a state of hypnosis. Yeah. Because your body's just focused on get to the next moment, get home, maybe on the weekend, you know, use drugs, use alcohol to try and numb the feeling. But That's why when you turn 50, 60 years old, you start getting heart disease, liver problems, because you're operating at a state of stress for the whole time. So that's why we can't be conscious. I remember after my daughter passed away and I stopped working, I would say it took me a year and a half of not working. What I used to do is I used to walk to the top of the hill near my house when we had that really hot summer. I think it was summer 23 or 24. I used to walk to the top of it. I put a big blanket down, and I just sunbathe, and I just listen to like books, different books, different W.B. Du Bois, Kaczynski, all kinds of different books that I'll be reading, listen to, or I'll not listen to anything. I'll just listen. I'll just watch the sky, sunbathe. It took me a year and a half of doing that before I feel like I was back to myself. Do you get it? And then when I came back to myself, I looked around. I said, "Oh yeah, everyone's in a state of hypnosis. They don't even know what's going on."
No, it is. It really is. It really, really is. And I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna. Well, we just have to, keep doing what you're doing, and we show up and just stay sane, and make sure we hold on to the, so we can get to the other side sanely.
Yeah, we all gonna make it. We all gonna make it, baby.
I know we are. It's just having to deprogram ourselves. And I think because they've used, these people, they're so clever, When you sort of like think back, like you're like, oh, you guys made it so nice, because they've programmed us to see things a certain way, certain timeline, and it's like, if we're not seeing this in our life, we think we failed. But it's like, no, you still have breath, you still have mind, you're still able to move about. But yeah, I'm gonna let you go. Keep doing.
Soldier.
Big kisses to the family, to the Queen.
Team.
Listen, I'm so proud of you. You don't understand.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm so proud of you. But we will connect on the DMs and take it to the next level. But yeah, keep it up, yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, family. Have a great evening.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, take care. You get me? They're not just me out here. Nah, people see what's going on in it. It's not just me. People's people. What are you saying? Hello, you're muted, my friend. People's people, you're muted. We can't hear you. We got 20 people in the live. We're not boosting right now, but we're boosting. You know what I mean? Like, quality over quantity in the discussion. Oh, you went offline. How is social services the mafia? Oh, you really don't know what's going on. What's up?
Hey. You alright?
My man's got the video on. What are you saying?
Yeah, just it's nice to like look at someone while you're talking to them, I think.
Respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would you like to say?
What are you... No, I'm just kind of curious on what you're talking about. Yeah, really, that's just what I think.
Alright, so I'm just talking about the fact that the way that these are structured is to exert power over us, extort us, bully us, separate our families, destroy our lives, harm us, and it's a racket, and these people are involved in it, and a lot of the people that defend it, our relatives, our friends, our family, that are part of this cult or this corrupt these corrupt organizations, they don't even know what's going on, and they're doing the bidding of criminals and organized mafias without realizing it. And I'm just here to call it out and say my experiences, and I'm telling you that they are a criminal mafia, and they get away with the things that they do because of people like OD Hanley in the comments, who are like, unfortunately, they're just not very smart. That's what it is.
Yeah. We say, how does the NHS harm people?
How do they harm people? Well, the treatments that we get given from these big pharmaceutical companies, and the way that they treat us, causes harm to us. For the most part.
I do agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that even in America, there's a lot of like, I believe Pfizer, that big medical company, has actually never cured anything. It's kind of like what they give us is like not cures, but necessarily just treatments to kind of try and stop. And even like NHS now, you'll see the food that they give you and the food that they give sick people. it's like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not really helping anyone. It's kind of deteriorating your health, and it's surprising that they serve that sort of food in hospitals. So yeah, I do. Yeah, I do agree.
It's funny. It's funny. One of the most basic things that any culture, understands is that the sun is good for us. Yeah. Tell me one hospital that you've seen with a roof that allows the sun to enter the building.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Never. Or a school. You don't see it.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear it 100%. I personally believe that like diet is like a big part of like gut health. Basically, I'm like a really big believer in that. But I'm young myself, so it's not like I can say I know a lot of people have a lot of experience, but I'm just trying to improve myself now and like get to know like what you're talking about, like get to know what these big companies are doing and how essentially.
Well, it's all just based on fraud. They're very intelligent people. They just set up systems that allow them to operate in the shadows, and then they use the media to make people focus on other things. It's not the setup is not that complicated, but the intricacies of it are complicated. But it's just set up so that they can do things in the shadows and then misdirect your attention onto other things, so that they can profit off of their asymmetric information.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. I'm gonna just drop you down because there's this guy that he just. Thanks for speaking though. Like I appreciate you coming on.
Sure.
There's a guy that he's calling me. He wants to smoke. So Odie Hanley, you want to smoke? Let's get you on, right? So you want to call me out because you think I don't know what I'm talking about, right?
So first of all, how are you comparing the NHS and the police? That's my first question.
Okay. Is that you want me to answer that now?
Yeah.
Okay. Who is more powerful, a doctor or a police officer?
How are you measuring power?
Who has more power in society?
How are you measuring power?
The ability to exert their will on others, the ability to avoid accountability, money.
The police?
However you measure power.
The police?
No, the doctors have more power than the police.
How do doctors have more power than police?
Because if a doctor goes to court, their opinion is considered an expert opinion. If a police officer goes to court...
That's not how that works. Whoa, that's not how that works.
Yes, it is.
That's not how it works.
Yes, it is.
Have you ever been on a jury before?
I've never been on a jury, no.
Okay, so a doctor, you don't just take their words as facts. That's not how it works. A doctor isn't just an expert witness because they're an expert witness. It comes with experience. You can't just get a doctorate, say you're a doctor, and then you're an expert witness. That's not how it works.
If you're a medical doctor and you give an opinion about something that happens that pertains to harm or medical harm,
that's literally the whole point of a jury system. That doesn't make any sense. That's literally the whole point of a jury system. What, you don't take their word verbatim every single time, bro.
I know how the jury system works, but I'm saying that a doctor's opinion in court has more leverage than the opinion of a police officer.
In what respect? Like,
because they're an expert witness.
Anybody can be an expert witness. That doesn't change.
No, not anybody can be an expert witness.
If you've got a doctorate and you become a doctor,
I'm talking about a medical doctor.
I appreciate what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that you can't just. That doesn't just make you an expert witness. You can't just. If I just went to my doctor down the road and tried to sue him, he doesn't automatically become an expert witness.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
You clearly don't know what you're talking
now.
about.
Google that right now.
Okay, sure. Yes, doctors can be expert witnesses, particularly in legal cases involving medical issues.
I'm not debating that they can be expert witnesses. Of course, they can be expert witnesses. You're saying that any doctor that comes in can automatically become an expert witness. That's not how it works.
If you go to court and you say this is what caused harm and this is how the harm happened, and a doctor says no, this is what caused harm, this is how the harm happened, the court is going to side with the doctor. Because you're not. You would need to get. Yeah, they will.
You're basing it.
Yeah, they will. You would have to get a medical opinion.
You're basing it off what though?
Off my experience of life, because I know what I'm talking about. Well, you don't know what you're talking about.
But you've never served on a jury, so what are you talking about?
Doesn't matter if I've served on a jury. I literally have.
Because you're talking about the court.
No, but I don't have to serve on a jury to know that that's how the court works. I go to court over these matters. I consult with lawyers over these matters. I consult with people over these matters. I have lawyers, NHS whistleblowers. I know how the system works.
What's your job? Because you're on.
I don't have a job.
Right now. You don't have a job. Okay, so what are you doing?
So you concede that you're wrong about how.
I'm not wrong.
So you're saying that a doc.
So
I googled it to show you that even Google would prove you wrong. I know it's true.
You know it's true, but Google has literally just told you that you're wrong.
How did Google tell me I'm wrong? It literally says right here.
Read it again.
Yes, doctors can be expert witnesses, particularly in legal cases involving medical issues.
Yes, they can be expert witnesses. Not every doctor can come into court and claim to be an expert witness. That doesn't work that way.
Yes, they can.
No, you just read it again.
Okay, let's search this. Is a doctor's opinion considered?
Cool, come here. I gotta go.
No. Stay.
No worries. I gotta go to work.
Stay. Yes, a doctor's opinion can be considered an expert opinion when they are providing specialist knowledge or advice in a legal context, especially when acting as an expert witness.
Yes, can is.
Okay, what would make them not an expert witness?
That's dependent on the jury. You're asking questions.
It's not dependent on the jury. It's not dependent on the jury. It's dependent.
It's dependent on the court.
Yes,
case.
that's my point. That's my point. So I'm talking about when there's an issue that pertains to how somebody died or medical issues, the doctor is considered a medical issue. Not only that, there's also case law precedent that means that the doctor's notes are considered to be a true contemporaneous record, of true events. That means what the doctor writes in the medical notes takes precedent over what you say. Regardless of how true.
It's a record.
Yes, it does.
It adds to evidence.
No,
a record
it doesn't add to evidence. It's considered by the court to be a contemporaneous record of true events, unless it can be sufficiently undermined by your evidence. Meaning that it's by default true unless you have substantial evidence to disprove it. So doctors have more leverage. That's not the case for a police officer.
What's wrong with that system? What's wrong with that system then?
Okay, so what you first asked is how can I compare the NHS and the police? So what I'm trying to show you is that these people are more powerful than the police. Not only that, there are also protocols.
They're not more powerful.
Listen, don't interrupt me. There are also protocols that mean that the police favour what the NHS says over what a layman says, over what an everyday person says. If I call the police and say, this doctor did something to me, they're not going to go and arrest the doctor. If the doctor calls the police and says,
would they go and arrest the doctor?
Stop, let me finish. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Answer the question.
Dude.
Yeah? Why would they arrest the doctor just based on what you say? Does that make any sense?
Unfortunately, you've got a thing that's come up saying your live contains themes.
I
have to remove you. I'm sorry. I didn't want to remove you, but it come up saying that your live has themes that, like, I didn't want to remove you, dude. Like, I'm not like that, but I don't know. Maybe come on a different account. It said your live has themes that, whatever. But you don't know what you're talking about. That's the problem. So I thought you were gonna have a proper debate with me anyway, irrespective of the message that came up. But you're arguing things that everybody knows are true. What you're arguing is not even matters of debate. You're just pretending that what I'm saying isn't accurate. But everybody knows that it's right. Nobody in this chat would dispute it. No doctor will come on here and tell you I'm wrong. No lawyer will come on here and tell you I'm wrong. So, like, should we just get it up right now? Case law on I hate when people underestimate me. I think it's just because of how I look. Okay. Hold up. Case law saying medical notes are hold on, bro. Okay, so for instance, it says in CDE versus Surrey and Sussex Healthcare NHS Trust 2022, the court emphasised the significance of contemporaneous medical records. Lord Justice Stuart Smith noted that such records are made by professionals who understand the importance of accurate documentation, stating that these notes represent the primary contemporaneous record of events and should be timed and signed to ensure clarity and accountability. You just got absolutely destroyed. That's 2022. That's not even old case law. The case law goes back. It is a matter of fact that in UK courts, what a medical professional writes down because of their training is considered to be a contemporaneous record of true events. That means that they have more leverage in court because it's an expert opinion and what they write down is considered to be a record of true events. That's one. Number two, the police have protocols that means that they favour information from health. One such protocol is working together to protect children. That is one I can tell you right off the top of my head. That working together to protect children tells them to prioritize information that comes from health. Not only that, everything that these organizations do is based on legal what the law says. So they don't even make their own policies. Their own policies are made by the lawyers. The lawyers make their policies based on what the law is likely to say on the matter. So that's why the police won't arrest a doctor, because they already know this case is going to be a myth, because if we go and arrest a doctor and the doctor shows his evidence and this guy shows his evidence, 9 times out of 10 the court is just going to go, this is contemporaneous record of true events, we're siding with the doctor. So the police will make their own policy to say we're not going to prioritize health arrests. That's why if you call the police right now and say, help, I need help, I've just been harmed by someone in public, they are going to show up and say, what's going on, what's the crack? If you call the police and say, I've just been harmed by a doctor on an NHS ward, they're going to tell you, go and call PALS. They're going to tell you, contact PALS and do a complaint to the trust. So you don't know what you're talking about, OD Hanley. You're just... The NHS, exactly. The NHS can also detain you. They can prevent you from leaving if they believe that there's a safeguarding risk. Well, they believe that they can do it through their policy. It actually goes against common law. It's false imprisonment. But again, the case law precedent is what matters. It's not about what you think. It's not about what the common law says, unfortunately. It's about the case law precedent. So the legal precedent means that this is effectively how the UK works. Another thing is that so not only does the legal precedent mean that, but the legal precedent, the laws mean it. So there's legal precedent, then there's laws that stipulate that these people have statutory duties, they have certain authorities, they have certain responsibilities, they have more power. They have statutory powers. Statutory powers are literally powers that the government gives you that other normal people don't have. So if they have statutory powers, they have more power than an average person. The statutory powers that the hospitals have are more than the statutory powers that the police have. They have more responsibility. They get more funding. They're more powerful than the police. So the police are their lapdogs. The police are beneath them. So you can't tell me, oh, why are you linking up the NHS with the police? The police are less powerful than the NHS. They're lower in the hierarchy of control than the NHS. The police can be reprimanded and kicked in the butt and sent on their way by a lot of these, not just the police, but government agencies. Like the police don't have the kind of power that people think that they do. It's not hard to become a constable. It's much harder to become a doctor than a constable. The police don't have the power people think. In fact, the only real powers that the police have are that people don't have are what? Like powers of search and seizure. That's like pretty much it. You can do an investigation and you can, there's an absolute defense to you doing an investigation against harassment. If you say, I'm doing an investigation and I genuinely believe that there's a crime, you can do an investigation just like a police officer. You won't be found guilty of any harassment if you're doing a genuine investigation. So what other powers does the police have? They can search you. They can arrest. There's powers of search and seizure. What else? You can't even compare the powers of the police to the power of the NHS. And then the NHS has more funding. So the NHS is the most powerful organisation in the whole country. The NHS conglomerate. You think that the organised power of the police is less than the organised power of the NHS? You're bugging. You're bugging. The NHS can detain you. Yes, unfortunately they can detain you. They can also section you. So if they do a report that's... In fact, not only that, they can do a medical report that says that they believe that you're a safeguarding risk to children or a safeguarding risk to an elderly relative, and the police will come and execute the arrest on you. They will come and take the kids from you and give them to social services. The NHS, they can write a medical report and the police will literally go like their laptop and they'll go and do the bidding. And when you say to the officer, what are you doing? They'll tell you, oh, it says here that the NHS said this and we're just executing an arrest. So what are you talking about, OD Hanley? Silly boy. Come into my yard. Idiot boy. Come into my live, boy. Oh, my girl hates when I do that. She's like, you're African. Your accent's so dead. Respect to your loading. It's hard to Yeah, you're not coming up because you're loading. So unfortunately, wait, are you connected? No, it's struggling to connect to your respect. Maybe you want to re-request. What's up, Kaz?
Yo.
What are you saying?
So what's the actual point you're making? I don't understand. So what? Just can you elaborate on all the different organizations and?
Okay, should we go one by one? Okay.
Yeah,
so,
go on.
Okay, so this is the family court. The family court separate families. They have children wrongfully taken from their parents, and they wrongfully prevent fathers from seeing their children. It's one of the most corrupt, probably the most corrupt institution in the UK, other than the NHS, I'd say, the family courts. They're basically unaccountable. They don't follow the proper guidelines. They breach numerous acts. They don't give people fair trials. They breach the Children's Act routinely, and nobody holds them accountable. And even one of the, I can't remember, one of these head judges, a Lord so-and-so, I can't remember the Lord, one of these lords came out and said the family court is corrupt and not fit for purpose, and he used to work in the courts. So they're completely corrupt. Then you've got the councils. The councils are extremely corrupt. The councils fabricate evidence to traffic children. They extort people using council tax. They're completely inept. Half of them are bankrupt because they don't manage money properly. And then they take the council tax and they don't even use it in the councils for the services that they say they do. What they do is they pool it together, then they give the money to government organizations, and then they go and use the money to fund Israel and all of these other places. In fact, I shouldn't even talk about it. That's where your council tax money goes. And then they claim their budget from the Department of Health and Social Care, which is why they're able to operate at a deficit, because they're spending more money than they're actually using, because your council tax is not the money that they're spending. So they're completely corrupt. Then you've got social services. They're complete criminals who go around trafficking children, separating families, completely inept, the lowest IQ profession, 95% women, there's no gender parity, it's not fair, it's biased against men, they fabricate evidence routinely, they're being, the UK family courts and social services are being looked into by the European courts because of how corrupt they are. There's been some positive changes this year with regards to things that they can and can't do. About like reporting restrictions and things like that. There was another Supreme Court judgment about reporting on health and social care workers and being able to expose them. That was actually a really recent judgment. So there's some positive changes, but they're still extremely corrupt. We need a Nuremberg for these guys. Then there's UK government PLC. We know that they're funding wars and genocides all over the world. They use our likeness as a surety to claim money on us. And they trade us essentially. It's a corrupt organization as well. And we got next the pharmaceutical companies in tandem with the NHS, mass poisoning us, mass murdering us and covering it up, committing systemic fraud. And then you got the NHS, they help the courts to traffic kids as well. They involved in organ trafficking. There's numerous examples of this. And they are like a criminal racket. What they do is they move people around to ensure that harm is localized into certain areas. And then they go, oh my God, there's a crisis. And then they claim money from the taxpayer to say, oh, now we need billions to reform the NHS because of this crisis, even though they localize the harm into certain areas so that they can just say, oh, this is where the harm's happening, when it's actually happening up and down the country. And they use like tertiary, secondary, primary, like status symbols to make sure that the harm is not widespread. They localize the harm so that they can manufacture crises and claim money back. I mean, I could go on about the NHS forever. Yeah. And then the police, they just do the bidding of these people, and then they're funded by the banks. That's my little analysis. There you go.
Okay, well let me just ask you. Are you an anti-vaxxer then?
Yes.
You are an anti. So you just think they're just injecting us with shit, basically.
Some of the things that they inject are benign. Some of them are dangerous, but I don't believe any of them are good.
So you think it's just a coincidence that since the polio vaccine was made, there's no more polio cases? Just a coincidence?
It is by definition a coincidence, yes.
How?
Because the incidence of polio was decreasing for decades prior to the introduction of the polio vaccine.
I don't believe.
In fact, it decreased by over 90% before the introduction of the polio vaccine. On top of that, if you look at the actual studies that were used to come up with the polio vaccine, careful with the topic. If you look at the actual primary studies that all of the modern research is based on, they're all fallacious studies. It's not scientific. It's non-scientific.
Yeah, but since modern medicine, life expectancy has gone up. That we've gained so much from modern medicine. I don't understand.
Modern medicine is not. Vaccines are not the only form of modern medicine. One, and two, there's also been improved sanitation. They also measure life expectancy in a different way. For example, do you realize that the life expectancy is actually like 60 or less than 60 if you actually wait if you include all of the aborted fetuses? So millions of children are aborted every year, and if they were included in the life expectancy statistics, it'd be much lower.
But that doesn't have anything to do with life.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does, because a child is far more likely to be aborted if they have genetic problems, if they're not likely to survive. So many of the children that would have died in infancy are actually aborted now, and they don't include those children in the life expectancy statistics. When you look at life expectancy in the past as well, the main thing that made life expectancy low was childhood mortality.
But they're talking about people that are living. A fetus is not considered.
Did you even hear anything I just said?
Yeah, but a fetus is not considered.
But if fetuses that are likely to die in childbirth or die in their early years, in their formative years, are killed before they are born, and they're not, and that's not included in the life expectancy statistic, do you understand that that's going to skew the life expectancy statistic towards higher numbers because there's a lower incidence of childhood mortality?
But they're not really living until like.
Dude, I'm not talking about whether they're living or not. I'm talking about how they're doing the statistics.
They're not a live person, so why would they? What does that have to do with life expectancy? If they're not alive, their cells. If I don't understand, because after a certain point, you can't even get an abortion, which is when they're basically conscious. So I don't understand.
We're not talking about whether they're alive or not. We're talking about how they are coming up with life. Life expectancy is the age at which a person is likely to pass away. Do you understand that, right?
Yeah, but
so if somebody dies in childhood, that would be included in the life expectancy statistic, right? Mm-hmm. And if they kill the people that are likely to die in childhood, they're not being included in the life expectancy stat. So if we include all the aborted fetuses in life expectancy statistics, the life expectancy goes down to like 55 or like 60.
It's a matter of how you measure it. So I'm just going to ask you. So So if you don't think that if you agree with me that they're not alive because they're.
I didn't say that they're not alive.
So when would you say, is it from like conception that they're alive?
Yes.
How?
I don't know how to explain to you.
No, but I'm saying science says you're wrong, like.
Really?
Biologically.
How? Explain.
Because you're not what do you define as a living being?
By the definition that they themselves use for what a living being is.
I'm talking about not like an organism. I'm talking like a human life. Like we're conscious, we have organs.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. What other thing on Earth, other than a fetus, has the potential to become a living human being? Name one other thing.
But that's obviously no other thing.
So the only thing on Earth that has the potential to become a living being is a fetus. A living human being is a fetus, right?
Yeah, but they're not.
So only a fetus has the same attributes as a baby, a child, and a human being, and an adult. So they are effectively the same in that regard. That they have the ability to become a human being, a living human being.
But the thing, it's also not included in life expectancy.
So what is tell me what the difference is in livelihood, in whether they're alive or not, in a child and a fetus. What's the difference?
Because I'm talking about when someone just becomes pregnant, they're literally just cells. They're not even.
But what's the difference between them? What's the difference between a baby and a fetus?
Or what, a baby and a fetus?
Yeah, what's the difference between a newborn baby and a fetus?
Many things.
Name one.
They have organs inside them.
Yeah, a fetus has organs as well.
I'm talking about that. I'm talking about like when you just become pregnant. Because when the baby is becoming more and more developed, you can't get an abortion.
It has organs as well. Even a fertilized egg has organs.
Yeah, but not that. You know what I'm talking about when I say organs.
No, I'm literally telling you that they do have organs. They have organelles, and then they develop into organs. They're just small versions of organs. So tell me what the difference is between a fetus or a fertilized egg and a human being. Because a sperm, if left alone, does not have the potential to become a human life. An egg, if left alone, does not have the potential to become a human life. A fertilized egg does.
But you're literally just because you're saying it does not have the potential to become a human life.
If not interfered with, yeah.
But But then that's just you saying they're not a human life.
No, I'm saying it is a human life, as in it has the potential to become an adult human life. What I mean is potential to become what you would consider to be a life. I know that it's a human life.
You know? Oh, okay. I get what you're.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's nothing else on Earth or that we're aware of that, if left alone without being killed, will become a human life. Do you understand what an abortion is?
I know what an abortion is.
Okay. Do you know that an abortion is when you poison a woman to cause the fetus to die?
I'm just gonna give my very honest opinion on this. I'm gonna say I don't like the idea of abortion. I think it's a very taboo topic for me. But I think
You brought it up.
The women that do want to get an abortion, I think it's better that they at least have the option, because anyway they wouldn't be good mothers if they want to have an abortion anyway. So it's better that they just get it done.
Sure,
and
that's
when
you know
they're ready-
that's not the conversation we're having. What we were talking
just
about
saying,
is life
like,
expectancy and the
because-
medical industry. We can talk about abortion another time. Like,
But you just told me to give my opinion on
yeah, I went down the track with you. Now we're too far off topic.
it. You told me to give what you told
No,
me.
you went off topic, and I just humoured you because I used an example. You didn't understand the example, and you took us, or you derailed the conversation.
Okay.
What we were saying is that the life expectancy statistics are skewed because they're not including the children that get aborted. That is just a statistical fact.
Because it's difficult to measure. Because then it would be misrepresented. Okay, but let me
How?
speak.
Okay.
Let me speak. Because if you include abortions into the life expectancy, it would be way lower, of course. And
Yeah.
we wouldn't know how long if that wouldn't been.
Yeah, but do you understand that those fetuses were more likely to die?
Because of what they have, right?
Because they're more likely to be aborted if they have medical issues. The doctors will tell them to abort it.
Yeah, I'm saying if it's included in the life expectancy report, then it will be misleading. Because then, if the life expectancy report says, "Oh, people live until they're 50," and then everyone else is living above 50, people are gonna be like, "Hold on, what the fuck are you talking about?"
Exactly. That's what was happening in the past. Is that people were living long, right? But the childhood mortality rate was really high. So that's why the life expectancy is like 60, 70 when you go back. It's not because people weren't living to 100, weren't living to 90, weren't living to 110. It's because a lot of people were dying in infancy.
And so your argument, I don't know if it's true, but you're saying that abortions were included in life expectancy before.
No, I'm saying that people weren't even having abortions like that. And the child would grow, and if it had medical issues, it would then die in its infancy.
But what does that have to do with... So yes, what does that have to do with life expectancy? Oh, are you saying that...
Because those deaths are included in the life expectancy.
I get what you're arguing. But where's the
Where's the evidence? Okay, so look at the life expectancy in countries with high childhood mortality. That's the evidence. You're muffled. I don't know if you know we can't hear you.
Oh, give me an example.
Okay, let's see. Let's see the countries with highest childhood mortality. I think one is like, is it Uganda? Okay, so like for example, Niger, Nigeria, Somalia, Chad. Okay.
And they're the places with childhood mortality rates.
They have high childhood mortality rates. Now let's look at the life expectancy in these countries.
Do you not notice a pattern between all those countries?
Listen. So these countries have the highest childhood mortality rate in the world. Nigeria, sorry, it's just loading. Life expectancy. Ugh.
Well, could it not be argued that this is because they're all third world countries, so obviously they have the same
So they don't have
medical equipment?
exactly. So they have high childhood mortality, and of
Yes.
course unclean water systems, etc. But that's my point: is that they do have access to medicine. What they don't have access to is things like, you know, widespread neonatal wards. They do have access to vaccines, but they still have high mortality rates. So my point is, vaccines are not the reason why the childhood mortality rate is why the life expectancy is higher. So
that
yeah,
it-
Niger's life expectancy is 64.9 years. Nigeria 61.6. Chad 54.8.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't have access. I'm saying that it's logical that that would be the case because they're way less funded and medical access isn't as prevalent.
But we're talking about the types of medical access. So I'm saying that it's not vaccines that is increasing life expectancy. There's other types of medical treatment that does increase life expectancy. Like for example, you know, NHS has great trauma surgeons and things like that. So there's other ways that medical treatment can keep you alive, but it's not vaccines.
So what happened with Ebola? Then?
What happened with
Why would
Ebola?
okay, let me ask you. I'm gonna try and explain in a logical way.
Okay,
I know you have your opinion, I have mine.
sure.
Why would they spend all these billions, maybe even trillions, on vaccines just to kill us sooner? Where's the?
I didn't say that they were killing people off.
But you're implying that they're.
No, I'm not. I said that they are either neutral or bad. I didn't say that they are.
But why would they spend all that money to develop something?
Because it's extremely
nothing or
lucrative. It's extremely lucrative for them.
For who? The people who make
For
it?
the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, but if it's not effective, then why would the government give the money in the first place?
Because it's a criminal racket.
So it's like something underground.
It's because the people that are at the top of these organizations, many of them are psychopaths. They're very intelligent. They know how to extort money from the public purse. And people like, unfortunately, you, I don't think are very like intelligent. So you don't know what's going on. But I know what's going on. No offense, but like honestly, like that's what it is. Like if you can't understand why they would make a product and spread it across the world and it makes them billions of pounds, like, and you can't see where the vested interest in that is, like I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, but you were talking. Okay. So, but why? I'm talking about the government. They see
Yeah.
that it's not working. So why would they invest their own resources in something that's not working? They have data. They have people as well. They're not stupid. If you're implying that the government is just a blind leading the blind, I don't think that's a very good argument.
Okay, why did the government why did the American government let millions of people cross the southern border legally?
Poor leadership.
Is it poor leadership or is it deliberate because somebody stands to gain from things like that happening?
Well, you can argue both.
Why did the UK tell me how the population benefited from millions of European males and African males and Indian males being sent to die in World War II? Who benefited from that?
The elites.
Exactly, the elites, warmongers, financiers, the people that funded them, weapons manufacturers. Did your ancestors benefit from that? Did the British people benefit from that?
I mean, yeah, because of the Germans. I mean, they were bombing us, were they not?
But so the Germans
War
are bombing.
resistance.
The Germans are bombing the UK. The UK are bombing the Germans. The only people that really benefited from it were the wealthy elites, and you don't see how we are
No,
the
exactly.
cannon fodder and the sacrifice for wealthy elite people to make money.
I think now it's a little different considering that people are more aware. And for example, if you ask the average British person now if they are willing to fight for some rich asshole, they'll probably say no.
Yeah, and
But
if you ask the average person,
8 years ago, they would say, I would happily die for my country and let millionaires and aristocrats.
and what would the average person say if the government told them to take a vaccine that hadn't been tested?
But it has been tested though. It has been tested.
Okay, what would the average person say if they had no information and they were told to take a vaccine, otherwise they wouldn't be able to travel? What would they say?
You're bringing this back to COVID-19.
But what would they say? They would go along with it because the general attitude of people, the masses, the disposition is the same, that they do what the elites tell them to do. It just matters what the social paradigm is. In a time like 1940s, they can, rally people up to go into a physical war. Now they can't do that, but they can control people through other means.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think what they did with I'm assuming that you're referencing the COVID-19 vaccine when you say about.
Well, don't be that explicit. I don't want to get banned.
But that is what you're saying. You can say yes or no.
Yeah, but AI on TikTok is very smart, so
Okay,
let's just not get banned.
Okay, so let's just say the COVID vaccine.
Oh yeah, you really hit it there.
Yeah.
Hit it well there.
Well, I don't think it will get us banned for saying that, bro.
Okay. Do you? Yeah, it will. Because let me ask you that. Okay. Sorry to go on a tangent, but just quickly, why do they censor people who talk about stuff like this?
I hear a lot of guys talking stuff like this.
Why do they censor people who talk about stuff like this?
It's not really a new point of view. It's not really.
Why do they censor people who talk? Why do they censor people who talk about stuff like this?
They don't.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
Okay. Gonna link back to what you were saying about the NHS and police. How the
Sure.
NHS more power than the police.
Okay.
So you're arguing that it's bad. Well, in some cases it can be bad. I'm not arguing that it's not bad. I'm saying the NHS can detain you according to the 1983 Act, where they can detain someone they find a threat to themselves or others, which is a mental health act.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that what you were referencing?
No, it wasn't what I was referencing. I'm saying
what-
I actually said that they detain people even though it's against the law, common law, false imprisonment, for them to do it. They do it, but the reason they get away with it is because the police don't arrest them for it.
And what are you basing this off of? Where?
Well, it happened to me, one, and two, I've had people in the NHS tell me that that's what they do, and three, I know that the police don't do anything about it because their protocols tell them not to do anything about it.
And why did that happen? Can you talk to me about your experience, if you don't mind?
Yeah, a criminal organisation tried to take my children from me because I whistle blew and said that they were harming children on the neonatal ward, and then they killed my daughter and covered it up. And that organisation would be Nottingham University Hospitals Trust, which is an NHS hospital trust.
Well, first of all, I would like to apologise for the loss of your. I'm sorry for that you lost your daughter. But what happened? I need some.
I just told you what happened.
Yeah, but you're not. You're just saying that you're saying that it's Mafia and they killed your daughter. But I don't understand what did they do?
I just told you what they did.
But you're not going into specifics.
What specifics would you like?
What did they do? How did they detain you? Why did they detain you?
They stopped us from leaving the ward, even though we made numerous requests to leave. They detained us because I said that the staff were misusing the oxygen equipment and had caused ventilator-induced lung damage to my daughter, which was true. They lied and denied it and covered it up, right? And then I started covertly recording them. I caught numerous staff fabricating notes against me. Then the other staff started whistleblowing and telling us, these are the people that are doing it to you. These are the people that are framing you. I'm praying for you, etc., etc. Then I issued them a letter before action saying that I was going to sue them. And then they issued me a letter saying that they were going to take my kids from me. And it was all based on fabricated evidence. It then went to court. I took it to the High Court. I was about to release my covert recordings. When they realised I had covert recordings, the council withdrew from the case. They then didn't do a child death review. They misled the coroner with a fabricated report saying that my daughter died from COVID, but she didn't. The post-mortem actually shows that she had a collapsed right upper lobe to her lung, and the right upper lobe collapse was from an incident that was witnessed by 10 people. They all covered it up. They removed the medical notes from the court case. And yeah, I mean, they just covered up the death. It's not even hard to understand what they did. There's videos on my page about it. It's in court.
On your TikTok?
Yeah, there's videos on my TikTok. We were in a documentary called Maternity Broken Trust on ITV that loosely alludes to it. It's in the news. And there's also a maternity scandal in the same hospital, and it's the largest maternity scandal in NHS history. There's also a police investigation into the hospital. It's the largest police investigation in the history of Nottingham. And there's potentially going to be a government review. There's a government review into the hospital. There's potentially going to be a government review into maternity services in the UK, which have been deemed by the Health Secretary to be not fit for purpose. So there is obvious criminality going on. It's just that, unfortunately, people like you don't know what's going on. So
you're implying that I'm intelligent. You're obviously more intelligent than me. Is that what you're
Yes, saying? I am more intelligent than you.
Okay. So, but I'm genuinely. To be fair, I've been nothing but respectful to you, and I'm struggling to understand because
I'm not being disrespectful to you.
No, in a way you are, because we're arguing. I'm arguing for the sake of statistics. You're arguing over the sake of hearsay, and I believe. I think.
How is it hearsay and I believe and I think? I just gave you all of the evidence that backs up. Okay, so what part do you need evidence for? Tell me.
Evidence that they killed your daughter. Number one.
I literally witnessed it.
But how? What do you mean you witnessed it? You just said
I witnessed them kill my daughter. Yeah, I witnessed them collapse
You know how
alone.
many people were on ventilators because of COVID?
Yeah, and many of them were killed by the hospital.
But why would they do that? Why? What's the point?
It's called medical negligence.
And-
The protocols that they use are wrong. It's medical negligence. They're not the nurses are not doing it on purpose. They're just following orders.
So you're arguing that the higher ups are making it discreetly making sure that people are getting killed.
They're not making sure. They just don't care whether people get killed if they have a monetary incentive.
Okay, I get the argument.
Yeah.
Wait, I was gonna. Okay, so what you said that a doctor has some kind of I think it was statutory or something.
So
Well, I know-
the
I know
NHS
what
has
you-
statutory powers. Yes.
Yeah, statutory power. Yeah.
Yeah.
That for example, if a doctor says something, that their word means more than a civilian.
That's not what the statutory powers means. What
That's
I was
one
talking.
of it. That's one of the.
No, that's not a statutory
of the-
power.
of the-
What the statutory
they have-
powers that they have are
They can make
separate.
investigations. They can open investigation.
Yeah, they have certain statutory powers. One of them would be the ability to do.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you open an investigation and
No, you were talking about. You were conflating that with what I was saying about contemporaneous medical records and case law precedent.
No, I'm moving on to something else.
Okay, sure.
I'm just saying they have abilities to open investigations, but isn't that logical? Because they
I'm
have
not
all
saying
the-
that they shouldn't.
So why is that a bad? Why are you
I
framing
didn't say
as
that
bad?
it's a bad thing that they have statutory powers.
So,
I said that they have more statutory powers than the police have.
So how? But why were you arguing? I'm talking about what you were saying with the other guy. That you were framing it in a bad way. So what do they? What are you arguing that they abuse the statutory?
They obviously do abuse the statutory powers, but that's not the argument I was making. The argument I was making in that with that guy is that the NHS are more powerful than the police, and the police do the bidding of the NHS. And he was asking me why am I putting NHS in the same category with the police, and I was trying to show him that the NHS has more leverage than the police does, and the NHS has leverage over the police. Thereby, they are intertwined, and the NHS is worse than the police. He's trying to make out like the police are worse than the NHS.
I'm saying that they, of course, and the NHS probably have more leverage in certain situations. For example,
Yes.
if a patient is schizophrenic, if a patient has a certain medical issue, it's fairly logical they would have a lot of leverage because they have the expertise in that field.
I wasn't questioning whether they should have leverage or not. The point I was making is that they do have more leverage, because he asked me, why am I putting the NHS and the police in the same category? So I explained to him that there are protocols that bind them, and that the NHS has more leverage than the police. Thereby, it is pertinent to associate them when you're talking about corruption and the mafias that exist within the health and social care and the civil service.
Yeah, but when you say words like they're worse than the police and that they're corrupt, that insinuates that they are abusing the statutory powers and that they
Yes, they
shouldn't
are.
have it. So you're arguing that they shouldn't have it. Yeah?
I'm not arguing that they shouldn't have statutory powers. I'm arguing that they're
So what are you
abusing.
arguing?
Dude, I don't think you're intelligent enough to speak to me. I'm
I
really
am.
sorry, bro.
Okay.
Some people are just not smart. That's just a reality. It's not rude. It's just that some people are not smart. And not everyone is going to understand the things that I'm saying. What's up, Daily Injustice?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I'm not here to troll like some of the other people. You're 100% right. Like, I don't understand why people are acting like they can't hear what you're saying. Like, at the end of the day, the NHS obviously can abuse their power, and they have more power than the police.
Yeah.
The only debate that I have with you is that I personally think that the council has more power than the NHS.
This is a good one. I think this is a good debate to have. So, yeah, tell me why you think that.
Right. So the reason why I would, but do you know what? From listening to you, like I'm not actually up here to debate with you for the sake of it. Like I actually did listen to what you say, and from what you've been saying so far, I'm not gonna lie, you have convinced me that it's a lot closer than what I realised. Okay. It's a lot closer than what I realised. But the reason why I would say the council is the council can decide or have got a lot of influence on your housing, your kids, the takeaways that you have, to a point, your mental health as well, to a point, because they can't say you're not mentally stable, but they can make referrals. What else can a council do?
They can
That's-
prevent you
that's the
from
one
living
I've
in
got so
certain
far.
places.
Say that again, sorry.
They can prevent you from living in certain places too.
Yeah,
Right.
and also surveillance as well.
They can surveil. I think the NHS can. I think the NHS can surveil. I don't know if they can directly surveil. Are you talking about Ripper? Like,
Say that again, sorry.
are you talking about Ripper, the Ripper Act, where they can like surveil? What is it? Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act allows. Introduced in 2000, regulates the use of surveillance and other information gathering methods by public bodies. So who can use these powers? Is it? I think NHS has those powers as well. NHS Trust Surveil under Ripper. Go on, mate. I just wanted to look up if they can.
No. That was my point. So
Yes,
I'm saying,
they can.
You tell me.
Yeah, they can. NHS
Yeah.
Trust conduct surveillance under the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act, but only under specific circumstances and with strict legal safeguards. So they're limited to and typically exercised in situations such as criminal investigations, such as fraud or threats to staff and patients. So, for example,
Okay.
like in my case, I had a false allegation that I tried to assault a staff member, which was completely
Yeah.
fabricated. They can then probably use that and say, "Oh, we need to conduct surveillance on him because he's a risk to our staff." You understand?
Right, but also with the council, with their surveillance now, they can literally, from when you literally leave your house, if you're taking a cab or bus and go into the town centre, you can be under the council's watch.
Yep.
Because they're obviously, they're the ones who sort out where there's literally a control room
Yep.
for every council to stop shoplifters, blah, blah, blah. But the amount of abuse of power that could be used with that is ridiculous.
It's not
Even
just.
when you-
It's
yeah,
not
go on.
just. It's not just every council, every high street. In fact, many.
Yeah.
I actually think they can back end almost. No, in fact, they can back end every CCTV camera. I actually have seen maps showing all of the CCTV cameras, and they
Yeah.
can back end them. So what happens is, let's say there's a criminal on the loose, they can actually send the CCTV feed straight to the police control room, and then the police will just be following you on CCTV and
Yeah.
talking to the police officers, going, "Yep, go down this road, go down that road." Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have issues with the council, end of the day, the NHS is the same thing. If you've got issues with the NHS,
Yeah.
you know, it's your health. So of course they're powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah. If you have issues with the council, I guarantee you most likely you're gonna start having issues with the NHS anyway. as
And
well.
vice versa, yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about it is, both of us are right. The actual people that are powerful, well, that hold the power, so to speak, the people that run it are actually the Integrated Care Board, and the Integrated Care Board are senior members from the councils, and so health and social care from all of the hospitals in that area, and they actually meet regularly, and then they'll discuss. Often they discuss like clinical care, but there's different things that they discuss, and this is actually why I'm in such deep SHIT. It's because the people that are covering up my daughter's death are actually the people that are the part of the Integrated Care Board. So that's why they're able to run. So for example, one of the guys who tried to frame me for my daughter's death to the coroner, he's the representative on the Integrated Care Board for the hospital, and
Yeah.
he literally meets regularly with the matron, all of the other hospital staff, and the council, and they come up with like strategies for situations like ours. So, for example, when we all go to another hospital, and then we'll get reported to social services by that hospital, because he'll call the hospital and tell them, "Oh, they don't want the kids to have oxygen. Watch them." And then the message will go down. Watch them. The nurses will start acting funny. So they run shit. So and then on top of that, the councils will listen to what the Integrated Care Board says. So these people run shit. So we're both right. It's the Integrated Care Board, but you know, I say the NHS and you say the council because people don't really know the inner workings of how. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's why I said I want to have a healthy debate with you, because you're very. By the end of the day, if the NHS really want to make your life difficult, you're not going to be around to complain.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, and I think people underestimate the power the council have. They literally can decide where you live, how. You know, even with the Anti-Social Powers Act, people don't understand how that's being misused. Do you know what I mean? So it's mad.
Yeah.
Even the NHS as well. This one, you know what? Even talking to you now, because even the NHS can decide that you're not mentally well enough to be living in a certain apartment and that you need support help.
Yep.
So it just gets mad. It's yeah.
And they have more powers. They're going to have more powers now, 2025, under the new crime and policing bill. They're going to be able to use respect orders. So if they suspect that you are a risk of antisocial behaviour, the council can prevent you from living somewhere. So let's say, for example, the council kidnap your children and try to traffic them, which is what they do. And then you say, I'm going to go outside the council building and protest. They can say, well, no, this would cause harm, alarm and distress to our council employees. They can apply under this bill. They'll be able to apply for a respect order and say you're not allowed to come within a certain feet of this building because you pose a risk of antisocial behaviour. And antisocial behaviour is defined as behaviour which is likely to cause somebody alarm or distress. So they can say, if we think you might do something that might cause someone alarm and distress, you're not allowed to do it.
Listen, I was placed under an illegal injunction and I was banned from seeing where my child's mother and where my child was. I was banned from that street for 3 months, right? And it was an illegal, I'm a registered carer to the woman. So how the hell did I get put under an injunction? Antisocial behaviour, right? Because obviously if you're in a housing association and there's 12 people on the street, if they all said you put fire in that car, you put fire in the car. Because you can't go against 12 neighbours.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying? So if you've got issues with the council, they can put you in a social home. That social home, then their neighbours are a mafia in themselves because all of them start targeting you. And there's cases where there's one person going against 15 different tenants. And then they get put under an injunction. And then after the injunction, if you breach that, you're given an ASBO. Once you get the ASBO, it's over. You can't do social housing anymore. So it's a trap. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And they're doing it all over the country.
Of course. And this is the sad thing is that, like, sometimes I watch back some of my videos and I'm like, bro, I'm spitting. Like, we're both, like, you're talking sense, I'm talking sense. So I just don't understand how we say this stuff. And then I look at the comments, I'm like, am I speaking Chinese? Like, how, like, we're literally breaking it down for people. And they're like, I don't understand. Like, are you listening? Like, some of you guys, like, are you even listening? Like, I've been through it. He's been through it. We're going through it. We're telling you. Dude, like, do you want me to start pulling out court documents? Like, and then people's like, oh, it's not happening. I'm like, so if it's not happening, why the fuck was we in a document? Like, what the hell are you talking about? What, we're just making it up?
The evidence is in your lives, man. I've seen your lives. When you don't talk about certain things, your life jumps. As soon as you start talking about certain things, your life drops.
Yeah.
It happens to me as well. So if we're talking so much rubbish, why can't we get 3K? You can see people chopping an apple and getting 3K on the live. But you want to talk about the system and you can't push past 50.
No,
I had a live with...
Yeah, no, go on, sorry. I was going to say the most blatant thing is I literally do like 4 or 5 different types of lives. Look at the America live, 200, everything. As soon as I start talking about this, 20, 30, 15. Like,
yeah, I had a live with 15K likes and I couldn't get past 7 people. You know why? Because I was showing body cam footage to back up what I was saying. So it didn't want to, the algorithm didn't like what I was saying. And it was all in the guidelines as well. I was saying unalive and all these things. It still wasn't good enough.
It's sad because I was talking to my neighbour about this. Hi, Chloe. I was talking about to my neighbour about this yesterday. And I was like, we literally spend majority of our day. Like, if you look at your screen time now, I guarantee it's like 8 hours, 7 hours. Most of it's the average, We spend the majority of our day on platforms where we're censored. So, like, we are literally living in a prison of our own making, in a sense. Like, and it's just so sad because if this is the new public forum what everyone's on and then we're being censored, we don't even know what's going on around us. And, like, that's why guys like me, like, my case is one of the, probably, like, I've heard a lot of people's cases. I think my case is one of the worst I've ever heard. And, like, I'm a good person. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not, like, I'm not a criminal. I'm not rude to people. So it's like, the only reason I'm going through this is because what I was saying is true, because I was exposing something that is key to the maternity scandal, and they knew if this gets out, where do you know what I'm saying?
It's a problem.
Shut him down, because I'm very and this is why I have to keep telling myself this, because they try and present a counter narrative to make people think I'm crazy and stuff. So that's why I speak my truth, and I say I'm very intelligent, because otherwise people will be like, oh, he's crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I'm very intelligent. No. So they know, they can see that I'm intelligent the same way you can see I'm intelligent. So they're like, oh, this guy, he's a threat. So then they want to shut it down before it even comes. They just didn't realize that not just I'm intelligent, that I can speak, I can network, I can do legal reports, I can represent myself. They thought He's smart, but he's just a black guy. We're just gonna shut him down in the hospital. No one's gonna know about it. They didn't know I was
Yeah.
secretly recording. Do you get what I'm saying? So they
Yeah.
were thinking this guy, he's like, do you know what I'm saying?
Like,
Riff
whatever.
raff. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
I'm on the neonatal ward wearing a sideways New Era cap, Air Forces, and tracksuit bottoms. You get it? They really thought that they could just shut me down, and
Well,
they didn't
I'm
know
black
I was
as well.
smart.
They think the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
black as well. They think the same thing with me in Liverpool Council. They think the same thing. That's how they treat me up here. Same way. Same way. So I understand what you're saying.
Like, if you see the shock on these people's faces when I was like started issuing letter before action, when like even I guarantee you now, like they, and this is the thing, they don't know what to do with me. Like, I just got a letter today from them. They're like, oh, like we want to go to mediation. They don't know what to do because the way that I've twanged these people. If you see, I've sent probably like 1,000 emails, not just bombarding, but back and forth to all these different agencies. Like, if you see the way I'm just twanging them too differently, like I'm just too, like, I won't say I'm too smart for them because there's loads of them, but it's like I've managed to get, like, they tried to not do a child death
You
review.
know how to maneuver.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I got everyone to send the email, so they were getting, all their mail servers were getting bombarded. They got like 400 emails in 2 days. They wouldn't know what to do. They were all sending me emails like, oh, what's going on with this mail campaign? We don't know what to do. They didn't know what to do because I just got it, because I know how mail servers work and stuff. So I'm like, if I get organic mails coming from different email address, when it like scans the email address, because the servers scan the address, like, oh, this is a legit address, this is a legit address. So they're getting bombarded, but they don't know how to stop the bombardment. You get it? Then it's like I'm getting like I'm doing the what's it called? I'm doing the legal. I'm basically representing ourselves. I've done an analysis. I've done a forensic download of my phone, getting all of my steps and all of the data to prove, like, they're saying like, oh, I'm here. I had a 40-minute delay that caused a delay to treatment. I go do a forensic download of my phone. I'm like, okay, so I walked from here to here. This distance represents the distance from the front of the ward to this part of the ward. It's impossible for this distance. It's impossible for me to have been in the same position because I was in an enclosed space with one way out. So if I walk this distance, it's impossible for me to have come back here. You understand? Then I'm getting like pictures. I'm getting the metadata from the picture. Like, I'm at home 20 minutes later. The distance between my home and this place is 20 minutes. How could I have possibly walked backwards on myself when the walk is 7 minutes? That means I must have walked this way, got in my car and gone home. So how can I have caused a 40-minute delay? You understand?
It's gaslighting. It's gaslighting.
Like, they didn't realise that I could do this shit. Do you get what I'm saying?
No. I'm listening. I'm saying it's all, when you go against local authority, it's always your fault. It's always your fault. It's always your fault. And even when you do the complaints and they send you all this stuff back, and the amount of gaslight, like, I've literally trained myself to be a scan. Yeah, to scan very quickly what they're saying. As soon as I see 5 examples of gaslighting, I just scroll to the bottom and move to stage 2 because there's no point. Do you get what I mean? You have to be 10 steps ahead. The only way you can defeat these people is if you're an extreme conspiracy theorist, because the things that they do is always the most evil thing, because they know how to attack the heart of a person, how to break someone down, how to ruin someone's resolve. So if you have a list of 10 things, they'll always do the most evil thing. If you think, 100%. Oh, they wouldn't kick me out of the house with the kids, they'll do it. If they think, oh, they wouldn't kidnap my kids, no, they'll do it. If they think, oh, they won't kill my relative, they'll do it, because that will drive to the heart of the issue. So the only way you can defeat them is always assume, oh, they're gonna send someone to try and stab me. Oh, they're gonna get my address, send the police there. Oh, I have to make them think I'm in this country when I'm in this country. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, you always have 100%.
to think that they're gonna do the worst.
And you cannot go against them and make decisions based on emotion, because that's what they want you to do. You have to do it on logic, and it's very hard to do that when you're constantly being antagonized by them. But you have to make a decision on logic, because otherwise it will be game over for you. I don't respect him, but the reason why Tommy Robinson is where he is because certain moves that he made was based on ego and emotion 100%. Instead of logic. Does that make sense?
100%.
If he kept to logic, he would be he could have put very dangerous pressure on the system, because he had the following to do it.
Yeah.
But his ego and emotion is why it was game over for him.
Yeah, he played into their trap.
You can't get that kind of following. It's too dangerous.
I have seen it, Betsy, by the way.
Because it's too dangerous. That's why your life can't reach past 100K. Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's you use logic. Yeah. So it's mad. It is mad, man. You'll get your justice because you're determined at the end of the day. I
think it's about leverage. So, for example, people always say, "Why are you doing lives? Why are you doing lives?" It's about the social pressure. Like, so if you read like Art of War and things like that, there's something called, I always talk about this, there's something called an attack by fire. I believe that The Art of War is a metaphorical book. When they're talking about physical warfare, I think that it's also metaphors for psychological warfare and things like that. There's something called an attack by fire. An attack by fire is an attack, metaphorically in my opinion, it's an attack that you can't control the extended consequences of. So the way to attack these people is an attack by fire. And I think that the parallel to an attack by fire is a reputational attack, because you cannot control all of the externalities from a reputational attack. So the only way to defeat these people is to put public pressure on them, because that scares them, because they go, oh my God, everyone's going to find out what I'm doing. If they can operate in the shadows, then you're going to have a real problem,
It's
because
game over.
you know what I'm saying? But if you put public pressure on them, so that's why now, even though they know, okay, we can manipulate the courts, we can do this, we can do that, what they also know is that in order for us to do this to this guy, we have to do it through some kind of mechanism. We can't just grab him and arrest him, because then a lawyer will be like, okay, what are you doing here? Yeah. They know that, so they have to do it through some pathway. But if you don't give them the pathway, they can't do it. And then you have to just mount pressure on them. You mount pressure on them. You tell them, oh, hi, Emma North. Hi, Emma North. Everyone knows who you are. Oh, Emma North, that's just my mate. That's not the Child Death Review correspondent that's listed on the Department of Health and Social Care website for child death reviews, who's preventing my children from doing a review. I wouldn't talk about her. You understand what I'm saying? You put public pressure 100%,
on them. And I always tell, literally we're saying the same thing a different way. When I say to other people this stuff, I say to them, for me, local authorities like to, whenever I see the news or whatever they're doing something, they've always got a storyline for why they're doing it. So you have to create your own storyline. As long as you create your own storyline and you, eliminate theirs that they're trying to put on yours, they have to go back into the shadows and come with a new plan.
Yes.
So it could be, the storyline is you're doing DV to your child's mother. I got that crap. They tried to do that crap with me as well, right? Once I showed them and we laughed at them and showed them that storyline's not going to work, they went into the shadows
and they come up with another story.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So every time you see the news and they're like, oh, we're doing this and this, there's always a storyline of why they're doing it. Right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's the only thing, that their Achilles heel is that if you know how to create your own storyline and yours is better than theirs, they have to go back into the shadows.
Yes.
So what they're doing against you, you can do against them, but you have to know how to do it.
Yes, and that's why my narrative is so dangerous, because first it goes from, oh, I'm being targeted, which, oh, you're crazy, you're not being targeted. Yeah. Then it goes to, oh, you're doing this to me because I'm exposing medical negligence. We get that there's medical negligence. You just went about it the wrong way. You're just aggressive and intimidating. I won in court. But the thing that's so dangerous about my narrative is I've identified that their guidelines are not in line with the national guidelines. So now what can you say? Because everything you're saying now, I'm right, because your guidelines aren't in line with national guidelines. What are you going to do now? Yeah. I've got the covert recording. What are you going to do now that everybody knows the specifics of what happened? Everybody knows. You thought I wouldn't figure out that the child death review, you're supposed to do the child death review and have input from the family. You didn't know that I was going to quote the section from your own guidelines. So when they're not following their guidelines, that's the scary part, because then it becomes less my word against yours and more what are you going to do about it? You're not in line with guidelines. Right. If I just do a statutory, if I just sue you for a breach of statutory duty, what are you going to do about it? You're going to have to go to court, because that's a prima facie case, saying there's been a statutory duty breach, because they have to go to court and prove that they are in line with statutory duties. So if I show an excerpt from their own guidelines and then I show national guidelines, like, look at this. This says that you guys have a no upper limit on the use of oxygen. The national guidelines say, and the boost studies that your guidelines are based on say, you're not supposed to put no upper limit on the use of oxygen. What can you say now?
No, 100%.
What can you say?
And my storyline is I'm the unluckiest guy in Liverpool. I can't get any legal advice for 4 years, right? I made a Children's Act complaint and I got ignored by the council for nearly a year. My son's autistic, so that means it should have actually been resolved in 10 days. And every home that my child's mother gets put in, even though she's got lupus, it's always in damp homes. And her house has been broken into twice. That's very unlucky, isn't it? For people who just complain to the council, that's very unlucky, isn't it?
Yeah, you woke the sleeping giant when you do a complaint. Oh, how dare you want better outcomes for your family? But
Yeah, you know what I mean?
But look, bro, I've been on 2 hours. I think this was a decent live considering our numbers are getting.
So yeah.
You know, no. I like talking to you, bro. Like, you know, I know we spoke a couple times and stuff, but yeah, literally.
Keep it up, man. Keep it up, man.
I appreciate the support, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, take it easy, everyone. Thanks for letting me on, man.
Sweet, everyone. Thank you so much, Sapphire, as well, for the support. You know, I'm saying that there's not many of us. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. There's not many of us. But, you know, we got to keep speaking and, you know, talking that talk. All right, thanks, everyone. I know there's like 12, 13. This is the cuddle group. Everybody cuddles. You know, we're cozy today. 12 viewers. 13 consistent. We're cozy. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. All right. Damn, that was a live, man. We get censored a lot on TikTok Live. Thank you, everyone who's been watching on Facebook. We're not on YouTube right now, but this live will be available.